At the bottom of page 167, they take a look at inserting and deleting worksheets, and they give you a variety of ways of doing that, so you may want to check out the various methods for performing that, and I'll probably pick up on one that I feel is most efficient for me, and so you need to choose your method that you like and can do most quickly. We're going to continue with the workbook that we're in, and we're going to put some formulas in first, and then we'll insert a worksheet. But at the bottom of sheet 1, both the amount and the deposit columns, we're going to put in totals that will add those. So we're going to use the sum function, and I'm going to place my active cursor in cell E21, and then on the home tab in the editing group, I'm just going to click on the auto sum. Now notice it's grabbing the cells that are immediately above it, but it does stop when there's a blank cell. So we need to redefine the cells that it's supposed to sum. And I'm going to start up with E7 and just drag down through E20. You can also type it in as the book suggests, but they have you go in and just editing that, which is fine. You can just change the row numbers, but I prefer to click and drag. So, and I'm going to press enter to accept the value. We're going to do the same thing for the deposit column. We're going to total that. So again, I'm going to click on the auto sum, and it only grabs the first, well, the one at the bottom, but the first one from the formula up. So we need to go and redefine that again. Click and drag from F6 to F20, and again I'm going to press enter. So that gives us totals for each one of those columns. We're going to do the same thing for sheet 2. Again, I'm in the amount column, and then I'll stay down there for the deposit. Auto sum, reselect, make sure you get the appropriate cells. I'm going to press enter. Do the same thing for the deposit. Select that, press enter. Sheet 3, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm in the amount column. We'll do the same thing for deposit in just a second. Auto sum. You can select from bottom to top. I just wanted to show you that one too. I'm going to press enter. Do the same thing for the deposit column. I'm going to start from the bottom up through the top. Notice my formula is the same, F6 through F20. Press enter. And now we have totals for each one of the amount and deposit columns on each sheet. Next, we're going to create a summary sheet that will total or provide totals for each of the months on the amount and deposits. So to insert a new sheet, I'm going to right click on sheet 3, and there's an option in here to insert, and worksheet is what we're wanting to insert. I'm just going to double click on that, and now I have sheet 4. Now notice where that positioned it. It positioned it to the left of sheet 3. So I'm going to move that so that it appears to the right, and one way of doing that is just clicking and dragging. Notice the black triangle. I'm positioning that to the right of sheet 3. Okay. Another method is to simply right click on the sheet that you're wanting to move and choose move or copy, and then you tell it where you want it positioned on the sheet. And if you wanted to copy it, you would click on copy. Otherwise, just click OK, and that will move it to the appropriate area. Alright, now in sheet 4, they are going to have us create a summary sheet as we were told, but I'm not going to probably thoroughly complete it, but we'll get a good portion of it completed. We've already copied and pasted values previously, and again for this worksheet I would probably paste link so that they're all connected, so that any change that's made in January, February, or March will automatically be updated in January. So we're going to first of all type in, let's see here. We're going to go back to sheet 1 and copy the information from A1 to G3. So I've got it selected. I'm going to put it in copy mode by right clicking and choosing copy. I'm going to go to sheet 4. I'm going to go to cell A3, right click, and just a simple paste. And that brings in the picture as well. Now, you know what, I should have put that in A1. I'm going to delete out the rows though, so we can just select those 2 rows, delete them out, and that will move the That will move the information up to cell A1. Once it's been copied, then we'll go ahead and change the month out so that it reflects first quarter summary for 2012. And then we'll change the column widths. Column A, it should be 20. Column B, C, and D should be 12. And then they also want B4 through D4 is going to be bolded and also centered. And then B5 through D7, which really we don't need to do this because I'm not going to have us fill in the numbers anyway. But if we want to change the number formatting to currency, that's in the number group and then currency. So if you were to type in or copy and paste information from one cell to another that was numbers, it would automatically format it to currency. So, alright, now I'll go ahead and type in the January, February, March just so you can get a feel for what this is going to look like. And then in A5, checks amount, deposit amount, and end of month amount. And then what they're requesting us to do is to go back to each one of these, the January amounts, and they want you to copy and paste the values. But again, kind of like what I was saying before, I would say link them. And so I'm going to copy, go back to the summary sheet, and for January, the checks amount, I would right click and then paste link. You get the amounts there, but then if there are any changes made, then you can go ahead, they would already be updated. So, and I can let you guys can go ahead and do that on your own. You got the idea, but you go back to every single sheet separately and copy and paste to the appropriate cells in the summary sheet. The last few items in Project 1F, they have you deleting sheets. And just to practice that, if you want to insert a sheet, I showed you previously how to right click and insert. You can also click the Insert Worksheet tab. Click on that, that gives you a new sheet. Click it again, that gives you another sheet. The advantage of doing it with the tab here is it immediately put it to the right of the sheet that you're clicking on. If you'll notice that, remember when we right clicked and chose Insert, it places it to the left, so it's at the left of sheet 4. So, and to delete sheets, you simply right click and choose delete. So I'm right clicking on those extra sheets that I just put in there and deleted those out. Next, we're going to take a look at managing worksheets, and this is discussed on pages 169 and 170. And previously, I'd already shown you how to move sheet tabs by clicking and dragging. They also give you an alternative method, as I showed you before, by right-clicking on the sheet tab, and then you have options to, if you want to move or copy, you can do so by clicking on the Move or Copy dialog box, and then if you want to keep it in the sheet, obviously you just click to where you want to move it or copy it. The other thing you can do too, which we won't get to just yet, that you could move or copy a sheet from one workbook to another. So if you had another workbook open, you could certainly copy a sheet in one workbook to a sheet in another workbook. So I'm going to cancel out of that. We've got our sheets positioned correctly. Next, they want us to name our sheets, which is very, very helpful when you have multiple sheets within a workbook. And we're simply going to just rename these as the content has it in there. The first one is January, the second one is February, March, and then summary. And one way to rename is just to double click on the sheet tab, type in the name that you want, and press enter. I'm going to do that on all these. I'm double clicking February, pressing enter, double clicking March, press enter. The last way I'll show you is another method. Right click on the sheet tab and then rename. Does the same thing, and you can type in summary. You can also color your sheet tabs. Another way just to organize your workbook and to color sheet tabs. You do need to right click on the sheet tab for that one. And for the January, we're going to color that blue. So we're going to go to tab color, and we'll use the blue, I guess the lighter blue. February, they want that colored to purple. March is green. The summary is red. So as you can see, you can color those, name them. Great tools for keeping your workbook organized. There also may be times when you want to hide a worksheet within a workbook, whether it has sensitive data in it or just data that you don't want to display to other users. In order to hide a particular sheet tab, you simply just right click on it, choose hide, and that hides it temporarily. And although they don't bring this up in this chapter, it would be best to further protect this sheet. And because right now, if you know anything about Excel, if you pass it on to someone else, that user can simply right click, choose unhide, and bring back the summary sheet without any problem. So they could see that information on the sheet. However, if you hide it, you can also protect your sheet. You can protect your sheet by typing in a password, and then when you type in a password, protect the sheet. Now if I right click on the sheet tab and unhide, oh, I didn't protect it, sorry. Protect the workbook. Protect the workbook, give it a password. Now when I right click on the sheet tab, it doesn't let you unhide it. So, and don't worry about remembering that. Just wanted to give you a heads up on, even though they show you how to hide it, if you truly want to protect it and hide it from another user seeing it, you would have to apply a password, and protect it. So, anyway, to unhide it, again, go back to one of the sheet tabs. It doesn't matter which one, and just right click and choose unhide. And it'll list all the sheets that you have hidden. You can select it, even though we only have one. Click OK, and you'll get it right back. Okay. Also, on page 171, they talk about formatting multiple worksheets. For example, if you say, let's say you wanted to add a header. If you add a header to, and if you go through the Insert tab, choose Header, it only is applied to the sheet that you're on. Okay, so you'd have to go to each sheet separately. And I misspelled February, sorry. I've got to fix that. It's always a pet peeve of mine to have misspelled words, so sorry about that. I probably have others misspelled too that I'm not catching, so I apologize for that. You can let me know too if anything's misspelled. You can send me an email on that, okay? Anyway, if you, like I said before, if you insert a header or footer, or if you change the page orientation, or if you change margins, any kind of formatting that takes place, it only takes place on the sheet that you're in. So if for some reason you would want to apply multiple formats over your sheets, your worksheets, all the sheets at one time, you can certainly do that by selecting multiple sheets, which can save you a lot of time. So in Project 1H, we're going to take a look at how we can apply a header to multiple sheets. And the first thing that you have to do is select your sheet tabs. So I'm going to click on January. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click on Summary. And that'll highlight, I don't know if you can hardly tell that, but that'll highlight and select all the sheet tabs that are in between. And I could do the opposite too. If I clicked on Summary, held down the Shift key and clicked on January, that highlights everything in between, so they're all selected. You can also notice here on the title bar the word Group. That's an indicator too that you've got more than one sheet selected. Okay, now we're going to insert a header, again that will appear on every single sheet. Under the Insert tab, Header, Footer. And alright, let's choose in the Header Footer group, under the Header tab, we're going to choose a built-in header that includes our left name at the left, page number in the middle, and the date at the right. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. That positions all the information in the header. And then I'm going to go back to the normal view again. I know you're not going to be able to see the header in this particular view, but I can work with it better. Also at the bottom of page 172, still in Project 1H, they ask that we also horizontally and vertically center each worksheet. So again, I'm going to keep all these selected. and we'll do that. And to change that, go to the page layout view, and we'll go into the page setup dialog box, and on the margins tab, the center on page, I'm going to select both of those. And they also want us to switch the page orientation to landscape, so I'm going to stay in this page setup, go to the page tab and choose landscape. And then while we're in here, I'm just going to go ahead and hit print preview so you can see what's happening. We're on page 1, sheet 1, and we'll zoom in just a little bit here so you can kind of see what's going on. So there's page 1, the date. Now if I go to sheet 2, let me jump back here a minute. Sheet 2, if I go to sheet 2 down here, notice that changes page numbers, still has your name, my name at this point, and the date at the right. Okay, page 3, same thing. Should show page 3 in the middle, page 4. So all those formats, let me zoom back out. Also the centering vertically and horizontally, that's on every page. I'm scrolling through all these, every page, as well as the landscape orientation. So it's a great way, if you select multiple sheets, to be able to make global formatting changes in every sheet. Alright, now I'm going to go back to the Home tab to get us back to our normal view here, out of the Backstage view. And the next little section, just want to bring your attention to, is printing. If you wanted to print an entire workbook, you would go to the File tab again in the Backstage view, click on Print, and then in the first gallery, under the Settings gallery, you'll notice Print Active Sheets. If we've selected, if we still have all our sheets grouped, then it'll print out all of the active sheets. Okay? So it's saying print active sheets. Let's go back to the Home tab. I'm going to deselect so that only one sheet tab is selected. Doesn't matter which one. If we go back to the File tab, Print. If you go back into the first gallery of the Settings gallery, you'll notice there's a Print Entire Workbook. That option allows you to print your 10 worksheets or 15 worksheets, 3 worksheets, how many ever worksheets you have within your workbook, all in one shot without selecting them. So that's another option as well. The other option in here too is Print Selection. If you had, we only have one cell selected, but if you went in, selected a certain area that you wanted printed, that's what the third option is in that gallery. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the Home tab.